Team TC, Red Room affiliates. What's good, man? What's good? First off, let me say happy Sunday to each and every one of you. I sincerely hope your weekend thus far has been a great weekend. Only one more day before we're back to life, back to reality, right? All that good stuff. You know, guys, I can remember exactly where I was when I got the phone call that Tupac had passed away. I was at home. I was in my room. And I tell you, when I heard that he had passed, I can't front y'all. I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. I think that Tupac's death hit me like a ton of bricks, mainly because a lot of the things that he was rapping about, many of us as young black men were experiencing on some level, be it trying to navigate these cold, hard streets and getting caught up in the judicial system, issues at home, Pops wasn't around, or in my case, you had a Pops that was around, but the two of you just absolutely did not get along. You see what I'm saying? Y'all just did not get along, man, like oil and water, right? And it's crazy because it's been 30 years, man. 30 years since Pop passed away, and suddenly, just like that, here we are, right? I was 17 years old when Tupac passed away, and now we're about to witness what could possibly be the biggest case in the history of rap. So with that being said, I wanted to come back and give you guys some updates on the Tupac murder trial. Now, for those of you who don't know, they have officially selected 16, count them, 16 jury members, right? 10 women, 6 men. Now, only 12 people will be deciding Keefe D's fate in this case, but they added 4 extra people to serve as alternates. I think they do this in all cases like this, when you have a jury that's going to decide somebody's fate. I think that's protocol. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it goes. And they do this because, you never know. Someone could get sick. There could be a family emergency. Someone could be disqualified. But the alternates will be there listening as well, so that just in case any of those things happen, the case doesn't get delayed. Now, what's crazy is there was some drama that popped off during jury selection, right? I mean, opening statements hadn't even started yet. They don't start until tomorrow. And trust me, that is going to be epic. That is going to be epic. But there was some drama that went down during jury selection. There was a male juror who omitted or did not disclose his criminal past, and I don't know, I guess he forgot to mention that while he was being questioned on the oath. And it was reported that the DA flagged the discrepancy on day 3 of jury selection, and Judge Carly Kearney, I think I'm saying her name right, Carly Kearney, pulled the guy's records to verify for herself. And afterwards, the juror was called back in for additional questioning. After having the omission about his criminal past pointed out, I guess the juror did a good job at convincing the judge that his past would not, in fact, have an effect on his ability to remain fair and impartial during the trial, because ultimately the judge ended up allowing him to stay in the jury pool. And I'll be honest, Team TC, I really like this judge. She seems like she's about her business. You feel me? And which is the exact opposite of Keefe D. In my previous video, I pointed out that in the past several weeks leading up to the trial, Keefe had done, I believe, 2 separate interviews. Now, in these interviews, he made statements that I thought were extremely problematic if you're the defense. First, he mentioned that not only did he not write the book, but that he didn't even read the book. And, before it was released. Now, we talked about this in my previous video, but if you missed that, you can go back and check that out after watching this riveting reaction by yours truly, Praise Jesus. Now, first of all, during the interview he did, I believe the lady from Channel 8 asked Keefe D if push came to shove, would he be willing to take the stand? And he said, if it comes to it, then yes. I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, Red Room affiliates. Let me tell you why I think this is a problem. First, I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to show you. I have 2 clips and that I want to pull up on my phone that I want you to hear for yourself. It's one thing for me to tell you about it. It's one thing to let you see it and hear it for yourself, so that we can really drive this point home about just how much of a detriment this guy is to himself and to his own lawyers. And these clips could prove catastrophic, especially the second clip. But I want to get to this first clip first. Keefe D's attorney, Michael Sams, made a comment that he has the most acquittals in the state of Nevada. And that might be a good thing for any other client that he's representing. But when you have a man like Keefe D who just can't keep his mouth closed, and now he's talking about possibly taking the stand. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to play this video for you guys where Keefe D has an outburst in the court, right? Now, this is the first clip I want to play for y'all. This is from 2 years ago. Keefe D was upset for 2 reasons. One, because because of some evidence that was being allowed in, and 2, the fact that his bail was being denied. And I want to point out something else as well. The lawyer in this clip that's arguing on Keefe D's behalf, this is his second lawyer. And yeah, his second attorney. Keefe D is now up to his third attorney. This is his third attorney, good people. And, this is just crazy. So let me pull this up for you guys so that you can hear this for yourselves. And again, this is 2 years ago. Keefe D is upset. He's lashing out at the judge about his evidence being allowed in, the fact that his bail was denied. It's pretty crazy, man. But it's a testament to who we're dealing with here. Take a listen.
They're not only ugly on the outside, but they ugly on the inside, too.
Dwayne Keefe D. Davis lashing out at prosecutors during another hearing about releasing him on bail.
And you just use something in the boxes. They just use something in the boxes. From 1996.
Those boxes contain a 2006 interview from a gang member who prosecutors say implicates Davis in Shakur's murder.
He makes that statement 2 years before any confession the defendant ever made.
But speaking out of turn, Davis says he believes those boxes came from retired LAPD detective Greg Kading, who interviewed Davis as part of the investigation into the death of rapper Notorious B.I.G. In a recorded interview, Davis told Kading what happened in Shakur's case, believing he would have immunity.
Boxes should not be allowed. I've been at his house for 15
years. Gotta read that fine print, baby. Gotta read that fine print.
Tuesday's hearing centered on that new evidence. The main reason was Davis's bail. The judge denying Davis's first attempt over concerns the man putting up the more than $112,000 was really a middleman. She also said she was concerned Davis could profit off the alleged crime, but Davis's attorney says no law prevents that until a person is convicted.
Right now, his son, myself, even he can enter into a contract with any media entity and make money on this case.
So you saw that, right, Team TC? Red Room affiliates. Y'all saw that. You saw how Keefe D was completely unhinged, speaking out of turn, completely disrupting courtroom proceedings. Total meltdown. This proves that Keefe D is the type of person who is quick to lash out when things don't go his way. This was just over his bail, right? Can you imagine if he gets on the witness stand? Can you just imagine? It would be totally disastrous. But if you think that was bad, Team TC, if you think that was bad, Red Room affiliates, wait until you hear this. Oh yes. Wait until you hear this right here. You know, this isn't the first time Keefe D has been locked up, good people. He's not a stranger to the judicial system. He knows how it goes when it comes to jailhouse phone calls. He knows that every single call is recorded. And yet, he just can't help himself. Last Saturday, Keefe D was on the phone with his alleged mistress, where she asked him about the book he wrote. Now remember, first Keefe D promoted the book on multiple platforms and claimed that, you know, the book and everything in it is completely the truth and totally indisputable. The indisputable truth, right? He pointed at the book. Remember? I don't know if it was DJ Vlad or Art of Dialogue. It probably was. It was probably DJ Vlad. But he held up the book in all of its glory, and he said, "This is the truth. If you want to know what happened, go out and get this right here. You don't need to listen to nobody else. You don't need to read any other books that might be out here. You need to get this right here. This is all you need if you really want to know what happened." And then he completely changes his story and says, "Nah, man, I ain't wrote no book. I didn't write that. Matter of fact, I didn't even read it. I don't even know what's in it because I didn't read it." I want y'all to hear this for yourselves. Listen to this exchange between Keefe D and his alleged mistress, where she asks him directly about the book that he was once promoting, but not claiming that he ain't got nothing to do with. Let's see, I think this is, yeah.
27 years, and y'all want to say, they put that shit all over the social media, though. I got Tupac. I'm like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, they ain't got shit, though. They try to use my statements against me. You gonna lose, dude. I was paid to say
Insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Insane.
I paid to say that, stupid motherfucker. You can't use my against me, stupid.
And then what's this book they say you wrote?
Yeah, I did. After that dude did that, I didn't breach that contract. He did.
Okay.
Hey, you know, carry time.
You know what, Team TC? Right about now, I know what you're saying to yourselves. You're thinking, there is no way this guy can be this stupid. There's no way. There's no way Keefe D can be this dumb. See, I know right about now you were in complete and utter disbelief. And that's why I'm going to play this clip for you. The clip of Keefe D once again incriminating himself after vehemently denying that he wrote the book. I'm going to play this for you one more time because you need to hear it one more time. See, it's hard to accept the fact that somebody could be this dumb, this careless, this reckless at the mouth, right? But you got the poster child right here.
27 years, and y'all want to say, they put that shit all over the social media, though. I got Tupac. I'm like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, they ain't got shit, though. They try to use my statements against me. You gonna lose.
This is crazy. Insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was paid to say that, stupid motherfucker. You can't use my against me, stupid.
And then what's this book they say you wrote?
Yeah, I did. that dude did that. I didn't breach that contract. He did.
You know, yesterday morning, I woke up, I cut my hair. As you can see, I keeps the bald look, you know what I'm saying? I keeps the bald cut, you know what I'm saying? Because bald is beautiful, praise Jesus, you know? But unlike myself, Keefe D's attorney has a head full of hair. You know, I think his hair comes down to his shoulders. And I get the feeling that tomorrow, when they show up for opening statements, he's going to be just as bald as me, because he had to have spent all last week pulling his hair out, guys. I mean, he had to have been thinking to himself, what the hell is Keefe D thinking? I see why I'm the third attorney on this case. This guy just can't keep his mouth shut. He just can't help himself. How can you not know that you're being recorded? You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, I think Keefe D knew he was being recorded. I think he just wanted to sound tough. Not saying he's soft. I just think he wanted to sound tough. And he wanted people to hear that. Again, he's no stranger to the judicial system. He knows how this works. He knows how these phone calls work. They get recorded, every single one of them, every single word verbatim. I think he's just that bold. He's that bold. He's that stupid, determined to prove. I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to prove. And you know, I saw in another video where somebody asked, was Keefe D soft? And you know, they asked, was he soft? And I was like, you know, me personally, I don't think he's soft. I just think he's dumb. I think he's done with the capital D. You know, in most cases, you know, in this case, there's a high irony here, right? In most cases, the DA is trying to convince the jury that the defendant is a liar and that he can't be trusted. And, you know, he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, right? And the defense is arguing that their client is in fact credible and should be believed beyond, you know, a reasonable doubt. But in this case, everything is flipped. It's reversed. It's the prosecution that's arguing that Keefe D is in fact credible and that, you know, Keefe D is telling the truth about being involved in the death of Tupac Shakur and that he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Whereas Keefe D's defense, and in my opinion, this is embarrassing if you're the defense, right? To me, this is embarrassing to have to go with this type of strategy. They're arguing that their client is actually a liar and a total fraud and is just, you know, shouldn't be believed under any circumstances. And I just don't get this. I just don't get this. And, you know, pretty much Team TC, this case is going to have all kinds of twists and turns. We are all going to be taken on an emotional roller coaster. The disrespect that Keefe D has shown over the past several years. Remember, he said that when they pulled up on Pac and Suge and shots rang out, as Tupac tried to jump in the back seat, you know, he looked like he was breakdancing. You know, he really thought that that was funny. And, you know, wow. All the laughing, the joking, the bragging and boasting, you know, it's finally caught up to him. It's finally coming to a head. This man has possibly talked himself into a life sentence. And if you think for 1 second that leaked phone call is not going to come into evidence, you couldn't be more wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. That phone call could very well be the nail in the coffin for Keefe D. And even though, you know, he may have beaten cancer, he is clearly a victim to his own mouth. You know, As I told you before, Keefe D is a man in love with the sound of his own voice. He just can't help himself. And yeah, this is it, man. I know Michael Sam's claims to have the highest acquittal rate in all of Nevada, but I don't know. I don't know if he wants to put that streak on the line in this case. I don't know if you want to risk. I don't know if you want to risk it on a case like this, Mikey baby. You might want to think twice about this, my G. But yeah, man, I want to thank all of you guys for rocking with me on this here episode of Truest Dude Reacts. And listen, do me a favor. Tell me, where were you when you got the news that Tupac passed? Right? How old were you when Tupac passed? Like I said, I was 17, man. 17. And wow, how time flies, And for 30 years, we waited. We waited for answers. We waited for clarity, for closure, for justice. Justice for Tupac and justice for his family as well. And listen, two things I want to make clear before we get out of here, right, guys? First of all, as adults, we understand right and wrong. And, because of this, we understand that Tupac was all the way in the wrong for jumping on Orlando Anderson, right? He was wrong for that. We get that. We totally understand that. And at the same time, Keefe D is also wrong for playing a direct part in taking his life. You see what I'm saying? And this is what it's all about. No one is saying he was the one who killed Tupac Shakur. What's being said is that he was the one who orchestrated the hit on Suge and Tupac. His words, not mine. And that's ultimately why we're here, because of his words and nobody else's. Nobody else's. I thought it was interesting too. Before we get out of here, I want to point out one more thing. I thought it was interesting that in the clip from 2 years ago, Keefe D's lawyer, his second lawyer, was arguing that Keefe D should be able to make money off of the book Compton Street Legend, his memoir Compton Street Legend. Remember that in the clip? Go back and watch that. He's arguing that anybody, Keefe D included, should be able to make money off of this situation until it comes down to them being convicted. So let me make sure I understand you perfectly. You want to be able to make money off of a book that you now claim you didn't write. Got you. Guys, that is it for me. I hope you all have a great Sunday. Relax, kick back, and I hope you all enjoyed this breakdown presented by yours truly. All that good stuff. And again, let me know how y'all feel about this man in the comment section. And were you a fan of Tupac? Did his passing have any impact on you the way it did me? The way it did myself? And how do you feel about the fact that, 30 years later, man, here we are, right? 30 years later. Time flies, man. We're about to witness the biggest trial in rap history. And with that being said, it's your guy, Truest Dude, reminding each and every one of you to be you and be true, man. And until the next time, be easy. We out, y'all. Peace.